Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's great to have you all with us again tonight on this eve of Independence Celebrations Eve. Well, we begin tonight with another story that shows how mental health issues are dominating our society. Several Paradise Island police officers successfully thwarted a female's alleged suicide attempt by jumping off the Sisindi-Poitier Bridge earlier this afternoon. During that encounter that happened around 2 p.m., a toddler was observed in a nearby stroller. The woman and the child were subsequently transported to the hospital for evaluation. An investigation into the matter is indeed underway. We can also tell you that 2 men are dead and a woman, a young girl, are nursing injuries in hospital following an incident at a home in Montel Heights overnight. Police report that a 58-year-old man armed with a gun and a cutlass entered a home on Mantle Street, where he confronted and attacked a woman who lived at the home with a cutlass. Now, during the altercation, the suspect also fired shots in the direction of a man who was inside the home, killing him. A young girl at the scene also sustained a gunshot injury. When police arrived, the suspect was found near the home with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. A firearm was also recovered at the scene. Now, after examining the individuals, EMS personnel determined that the man and the shooter died at the scene. Now, the condition of the injured woman and the girl are unknown at this time. It's a serious thing we're dealing with in our country, right? I'll pause right there because we've been seeing far too, and I think one is far too much, but we've been seeing too many suicides in our country. And attempted suicides. It's alarming, and it must raise a question why people are resorting to suicide. You know, we always talk about it with the experts. It's when people feel hopeless, helpless, when they're in a situation that they feel is impossible to get out of, or to live, or to move on, or circumstances are just difficult. They resort to this act, and it just means that we have to intervene. We have to be more aware of people's signs, because they do give signs before they reach the last stage. And we've got to find ways to rescue our people and help our people. When you see suicide is on the increase, there are serious issues that people are facing, and they feel that they have nobody to talk to or any outlet to go to, or they don't have a resort, or there's no way out. I always tell people there is always a way out. There's always a solution that does not have to be through death or suicide. So our hearts goes out to those who are perhaps in this. It brings me back to the statistics that we hear among teens about how many young people have either considered suicide, attempted suicide, or you know, planning to commit suicide. It is serious in our country, and the reasons may be varying reasons why people are doing it, but nonetheless, we must address this issue, or we will continue to see the staggering figures and numbers, and then we want to move and act when it comes next door, or comes in our own home, in our own homes. We have to respond differently and quicker. We have to know how to reach out and bring intervention to people that we can be able to address this serious issue that's affecting our country. While we're dealing with suicides, there's also other crimes that we see happening. From the horrific scenes that we hear in the capital, over to Montego Bay, Jamaica, where the issues of crime and violence were heavy on the agenda of regional leaders attending this year's CARICOM Heads of Government meetings. Now, those sessions ending today with renewed commitment from member states to do more to arrest the plaguing crime wave. Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, believes addressing the root causes of violence is where we must start.
We have come to appreciate that a lot of it has to do with social issues and the manner in which we would address it.
And of course, Prime Minister is on his way back to the country following those 2 days packed intense sessions at CARICOM. We spoke to the Prime Minister today, who said that they believe out of these meetings will come perhaps some resolution and some solutions to addressing the issues in a more serious way. This was the first time they had chief justices from the region there because they figured it has to be a collaborative approach with the judiciary and the executive and being able to make the decisions that are needed to be able to address the real issues of crime that is not just plaguing the Bahamas, but throughout the region. Countries are faced with the same issues. Many Bahamians agree with the Prime Minister. We can tell you they agree that the Prime Minister, the root cause of crime must be addressed as it continues to plague our society. From murder to housekeeping, to housebreaking, to the rise in stolen vehicle incidents here in the capital, everyone we know must get involved in solving the crime war. There's no doubt that crime issue and its concerns will be one of the common denominators in the 2026 general election campaign. And while we all know crime isn't a political issue, Bahamians feel as though there must be intervention from government and there must be involvement on all fronts of society. They play a significant role in generating solutions that will ease the fear of crime. And it's just one of the matters we're going to discuss tonight in our very well-received political roundtable. Our first show was last week, and we got significant praise on it because we're dealing with the issues. I want to announce tonight that we're going to do that every Tuesday. We're going to have a political roundtable with the parties that are going to be involved in the next election because we believe this is where the discussion must be had first. Before there can be success at the polls, you got to have success with the Bahamian people. And the Bahamian people are here, watching, listening. And so this is where you have to test your strength. And if you do have a question or comment that you want our roundtable to answer, please send them to our social media pages. Those of you in the Lion's Den, you're very active. Those of you, wherever you are, send us your questions through the Lion's Den on Facebook. And we'll get them onto the air to our panel. We want to hear from you. We believe tonight we're going to talk about some serious issues, crime, the statistics among young people with suicide. What are various political parties? What are their solutions to these issues that's burdening our country on the eve of independence this week? What is the next for the Bahamas? We've gained independence, we've gained success, but where should we go from here? We're going to talk about some of these serious issues with our panel tonight and get their reaction from various political sides. The Coalition of Independence, the Bahamas Democratic Party, Bahamas Christian, I'm going to get the name right by the time we come back from the break, all right? It's the Bahamas Constitution Party, BCP, there we go. And then, of course, the Free National Movement is here as well. And we're going to hear what their plans are to address social ills, right? Because we need intervention. And at the end of the day, we're going to have different views, but we're still Bahamians, and we unite. But it's okay to have great public debate. And I think we need to have some good debate tonight and find some solutions. So stay with us. Right after the break, my guests from the various political parties will be here, and we will get this discussion started. You're watching The Rundown here on the ZNS Network. We're back after the break.
Hey, ladies, where's the Dave? Oh, okay, thanks.
Greg, what's up?
Very well, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
You up?
He's meditating. You gotta give him at least an hour.
All right. Well, I can wait. I ain't got nothing to do. Been pimping it, I say, now on to independence.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exuma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass it along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
Bahamas. Come celebrate our 52nd independence at the Family Fun Day, July 10th at Clifford Park. It's a great afternoon of food, fun, culture, entertainment, national pride. Gates open at 4 p.m., concert time 6 p.m. 52nd Independence Family Fun Day at Clifford Park. Bring the whole family. Admissions free. Happy Independence, Bahamas.
See, I'm proud to be a Bahamian. I'm proud to be a Bahamian.
Welcome back to the Rundown. Of course, special good night to all of you who are joining us on social media. Those of you who are in the Lion's Den, I see you online. I was called Bertha Smith. He's the captain of the Lion's Den. And then those of you watching on YouTube, those of you watching your various platforms, whether around the Family Islands here in New Providence, Turks and Caicos, the region, or internationally, it's good to have you join us on the Rundown and good to have you here tonight. I know you're going to enjoy tonight's political roundtable because we're going to be talking about a lot. Returning this week's roundtable are our participants from last week. We brought them back so we can get more into the discussion. The Bahamas Constitution Party's servant leader, Ali McIntosh, Free National Movement Vice Chairman, Teneri Roll, and Coalition of Independence Deputy Leader, Dr. Veronica McIver. And of course, the Progressive Party, Kyle, he had to travel this week, so he ain't here. So we have the three parties and not the Progressive Party, but nonetheless, we'll get him back, and I'm sure next week when he's back with us. Welcome to the show. Good to have you back, panelists, and to take on the discussions.
It's good to be back.
Evening. And happy independence to all of you.
Yes.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we all are on one team, which is the Bahamian team.
Yes, sir.
Right? We are one Bahamas. That's important. Yeah. We all want the best for our Bahamas. And so I believe that's a good place to start, right, with our young people. That survey released last week, I think, shocked the nation. When we heard the Global Health Teen Survey that came out, that was done by Dr. Sharita Moxie, an amazing practitioner and professional from the Ministry of Health. She and her team did a survey of more than 2,000 Bahamian teens, and startling statistics. Startling. I want to begin with some of them that are very shocking. That says Bahamian teens have been using illegal drugs before the age of 13. More than half of Bahamian teens have used illegal drugs before the age of 13. Overall, there is a deeply concerning rise in substance abuse among teens in the Bahamas. E-cigarette use is now, I guess, more popular than the regular cigarette and stands at about 17%. And then there are those who have had drugs, who know where to get drugs, who have dabbled in drugs, those who are dabbling in alcohol, they know where to get alcohol from. They go to stores and they buy them, no ID needed, or parents are exposing them to it. We spoke to Dr. Moxie, who was on my show last night, and she talked about the drug use, that they know where to get drugs when they need it, and how to access it, including cocaine and marijuana. Startling statistics. I gotta begin there. Are you shocked when you hear this?
I am. I'm not shocked, but I do believe that the statistics, as they are saying, might be over-exaggerated.
You believe they're over-exaggerated?
I believe they are exaggerated. Because if they had said, I've done youth work, I've done youth advocacy, as you know. When you were a young reporter, you always covered my stories. Teens think about suicide, but they don't actually go through with it. And so to say that 1 in 5 teens have attempted suicide, I think that is totally over-exaggerated.
Well, they did say 1 in 5 have either attempted, thought about it, or planned it.
Now,
so
you
not
have to be specific. You have to be specific, because they could think about it. They could think about it, but that don't mean they're going to go through it. When I was a teenager, I've thought about it, and I always think, if I get hurt and I don't die, it's going to be a problem. So I'm not even going to attempt it. So we should not be responsible by saying that, because a lot of teens take the view from what the society is saying. It says, oh, everybody's doing it, so let me try it too. So we can't be irresponsible and say that, oh, everybody, 1 in 5 teens, that is just totally too much. Not of 2,000 participants are we going to say that.
But if the numbers say that, then how do you argue it, the numbers?
Well, I would like to chime in with that. Dr. Allen is saying the same thing that she is saying. However, he's saying that he don't believe that all of that statistics is accurate. But what I have to say is last year's statistics, this is the data, this is not even a survey. Last year data showed that we had 400 attempted suicides.
Yeah.
That is a lot of suicides. Those are the facts. That's not a survey. And so something really needs to be done, and it shows that there's a lot of hopelessness in our society. Something is wrong why the people are starting to commit suicide like this.
Right.
It tells you that something is in the air. The system has to change. And of course, you know, this is a panel of different parties. So I would like to say that the COI would be the party to restore hope to the people. And that's what we are here for.
What do you think about your plan is what can address a lot of this hopelessness that people are feeling? What comes to mind when you talk about your plan?
Well, when I look at education, poverty, unemployment, those are the social ills that we have, and then also we don't have enough social programs. You will find that communities that have very good social programs, that they instill social cohesion among the people. And when you do that, you find that people interact better and you have less social ills. That is the main reason in our society. We don't have enough social programs.
But not only the social programs, because correct, as we worked social work earlier in my career, we find that we always use this general theme of hopelessness, just the opportunity for people to be involved in the life of someone else. One person can make a difference in one life. That has to be pushed as an idea that each one could reach one, and not just think that the program is going to reach everyone. We have to push the idea of volunteerism, which has been always my life.
Good point. Good point.
That it doesn't have to be a program that reaches the youth.
I believe that as Bahamians, we always stand on the side and criticize or say, when it's time for us to go volunteer our time, then we busy.
Yeah, we don't want to do it ourselves. We only want to do it by a group.
If I may, good evening, Bahamas. Happy Independence, by the way. I have to disagree with Dr. Ali's point in regards to is over-exaggerated. One of the things I like, and I don't think we do a good general synopsis generally in the country is a data collection. There's a saying that say man lie, woman lie, numbers don't, right? And so if a survey is conducted, it's important that we pay attention to the information that comes directly from the teens. I don't think it's a far stretch to say 1 in 5 actually attempted to do suicide. Because
why inflame and lie about it, right?
Because the reality is, when you look at global statistics, as someone who specializes in mental health and did a certification in it, 1 in 4 adults actually deals with mental health issues. That's the standard of mental health problems. And when you look at, even with suicide amongst teens, globally, ages 10 to 24, that's the 3rd leading cause of death amongst teens in the world. And so when we do surveys, I actually applaud the ministry for taking on such an initiative, because this is the direct information coming from our children, telling us exactly the issues that they are faced with. Oftentimes, they are struggling in silence. They don't have nobody to go to. There's no outlet for them. And so that is why we miss what is really going on. And I've spent a lot of time working with young people, and you'll be surprised to know what it is that they are struggling with. So to say it's disingenuous or it's a far stretch, I don't think so. And when you talk about plans, what we intend on doing in terms of the F&M, because this shows about detail, paying attention to the details and providing solutions, we want to ensure that our national comprehensive mental health strategy, that we facilitate mental health in every clinic. So across the country, the 53 public clinics should have trained mental health professionals inside of there to ensure that anybody that needs help at any specific time gets the necessary.
Now let's start right there, because I believe that's excellent, right? I've said it enough, and I think since COVID and since Dorian, I said we are underplaying the seriousness of mental health in this country. People have been traumatized from Dorian who had to relocate their whole lives. And I don't think I've been able to get the kind of counseling because so many of them, I don't think we had enough people in our country who focused on mental health because we didn't see it as a big issue until Dorian came along. Then COVID. And I still believe that there are so many people who have suffered so severely from COVID or because of the loss of loved ones. Who were they going to talk? You were locked down, so you couldn't go to nobody.
Yes.
You couldn't talk to nobody. You couldn't go to the doctor to get, you know, only people who open with a hospital or clinics. You couldn't go to a psychologist or psychiatrist and say, listen, I'm cooped up in this home, I'm going crazy. So a lot of people suffered in silence. I still think that we have not addressed the issue in this country. Now, my fear is to put a mental health professional in every clinic. If we can't find people, I know you're going to find 50-something of them.
I think what we have to do, as I started before, we have to go, when we're talking about reconstructing the country, reconstructing the nation, that's what the BCP will be focused on. So if we are just thinking about the programs, we really are going to lose, as I said before. We must let the society becomes part of being the brother's keeper. Because once you think, because see, we've lost family in the nation. That's the biggest problem in the country. And over the years, we have seen the loss of family life, the loss of each one helping one, the brother's keeper, somebody's checking on the children, the neighbor checking on the children, the church being a secondary.
Do you believe that has contributed to our crime issue?
That is the primary thing that has contributed, because when we are thinking...
Well, there are political parties that believe it's a government thing.
No, but it is a societal thing. All of us must be part of the help. Even with the National Committee, this is a long time ago, with the National Committee for Youth Renewal, it was about how do we recruit the society to begin to do something else. Because once the society begins to lose family, the children are the ones who are caught in the mess. And that's why children, because nobody is saying, what do you want? What do you need? We don't have tables in plenty houses in the
Correct.
city.
Ain't no more dinner.
So nobody dinner's table, nowhere for them to do their homework. Nobody's sitting home when they get there. So they are losing somebody to tell me something. Can I talk to somebody?
Ali,
and that's become the issue. Sorry.
No, Ali is talking about people volunteering and everything. I agree with that. That is part of your social programs. This coming weekend, the Kalani branch of COI, we're getting ready to do an initiative with young boys between the ages of 10 and 16, because sometimes your children can go wayward at a certain age, and we are going to be letting different people of different careers come and speak with them, like pilots and so forth, just to, you know, help initiate them along the right track.
Correct.
Because a lot of times our young children are growing up in environments that is not conducive to good mental health.
Correct.
I've seen,
Correct.
you know, like crowded houses. Some people are mentally and physically and sexually abused.
Really?
And these same children, when they get older, they have mental issues. So what I would propose, of course, being the Minister of Health, we have to have more mental health nurses and doctors who can deal with this. And then in our schools, we definitely need the guidance counselor. If she's not a mental health person, she has to do some extra courses in being able to identify it, because we have to identify it. He. So you have to be able to identify it in the high school. Don't wait until they have left high school. We have to start picking up some of these things early.
Correct.
One of the things I want to say it actually is a multi-sectorial approach, right? It takes everybody across political divides, civic organization, youth organizations to make this thing work. And like you mentioned, in terms of how we are going to get people to do this, what we are also proposing from our comprehensive plan is a new mental health workforce. So you actually target individuals, you incentivize doctors, nurses, and those that are currently in the system to take the extra training needed to facilitate the mental health training, and then you also find those that are like-minded to put them through the necessary training. So you actually have a mental health task force now that are tasked specifically with working with these mental health issues. And another thing that Dr. McIver mentioned, even in regards to schools, when we take it a little further, there's this study, they call it the ACE study, Adverse Childhood Experience Study, right? And what we're also proposing, and what I was mentioning and recommended to the party, is that we implement that into the junior high school straight up to the senior high school level. So we go from prevention now to we prevent it, or we get the data, actually. And that way we could put programs in place because we'll be focusing directly on the target audience based off the results that they get in. So again, it goes back to data keeping. What the children say, you ask specific questions and concerns, and you are able to even build your curriculum around certain things. You are able to build your programs around certain things, and you are able to, the social development that we say we'll put our kids in, the programs will even be guided around what the ACE study brings to you. And so again, you have to go to preventative measures first. You have to understand, it's important that you understand, because a lot of kids are dealing with trauma. They carry these, it starts from the adolescent phase and continues on through life. And that's why you see a lot of these adults, and now you're wondering why are they this way or why are they that way. And that's because statistics make sure you 80% of people don't even get the necessary therapy or treatment that they need.
Right. Yes, and let me interject here. He's so right. When you talk about the trauma and everything, every other day you see a gunshot wound on the street with blood coming out. I see many children who are there watching.
Yeah.
That's traumatizing them.
Yeah.
So when you say it's not a governmental problem, it's not their main problem, but if we eliminate poverty, if we have better education and so forth, I feel as if that will go a long way to minimizing all the bloodshed we see on the street, people living in cramped conditions, all of that have a bearing on your mental condition. And so yes, the government should take the forefront in it, even though it is a myriad of different challenges that we have to solve that. But the government should take the brunt of it because, like I said, they're the ones that cause the poverty. They're the ones that cause the high cost of living. So mothers who have young children, they're stressed out. They don't know how they're going to put food on the table. They don't know how they're going to buy those diapers. All of these things cause mental condition. That's why I'd be surprised a woman may want to jump off the bridge because maybe, who knows, maybe she feels as if she couldn't afford that child in that carriage.
We're going to talk about it. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, I wanted to go more into crime, right? Because who is responsible for addressing crime in our country? Is it a government thing? Is it a church thing? Is it a community thing? Is it a family thing? We're going to talk about that, and let's talk about plans and strategies, because political parties have these lofty plans of how they're going to eradicate crime. You come to office, you recognize, oh, it ain't as easy as I thought it was. Let's address the real issue and how we address crime. All right, thank you, panelists. We're going to be right back. You're watching The Rundown. We're back after this.
As we continue to develop the orange economy of the Bahamas and empower our artists and artisans, we as a government intend to show tangible support. We are therefore requesting our Bahamian artists and artisans to submit images of their handmade, authentically made Bahamian products and prices as we move to produce a live digital booklet with Bahamian-made works. With the creation of a live booklet, artisans can always submit new works to be included. It is our intent to use this book as a catalog for the purchase of items by all senior government officials for gifts, display items, and the like. Ministers, permanent secretaries, members of parliament, and ambassadors will be supporting our orange economy by the purchase of items and in sharing this book to the wider global creative community. We are committed to grow and expand the orange economy of the Bahamas.
For us at the Myers Group of restaurants, we found that we have a pretty large portion of our employment pool that had difficulty getting bank accounts.
The issue we had previously was just getting cash, getting funds on the island. And with only one working ATM, the idea of the sand dollar just in being digital, and everybody has a smartphone nowadays. It actually works into our favor.
The sand dollar was like a godsend because it allowed us to add it to our payroll system, which means we're able to send their money to the sand dollar wallet.
It's still a bank transfer because you get an account number. So from the employer side of things, all I have to do is send your funds just as usual.
It opens up our pool for us to be able to hire some of the people that we couldn't hire before because they were unable to open bank accounts. This has been a really good solution.
Planning the execution of a newscast is serious business. From the assignment to the concept of the story everything has to be precise. On point, always. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, is your trusted news service. We get it right the first time. Our preparation for you each night is done with care, knowing that our voices will reach you on 700 islands and keys with unquestionable accuracy. It gives me great pleasure each night to say,
welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm your national anchor, Makush Lapinder.
Welcome back to the Rundown. It's Political Roundtable Tuesdays, and of course we're talking about the issues our country is facing, particularly on this independence, 52nd independence, and of course my panelists from COI, the FNM, and the Bahamas Constitution Party are here to take it on. And I want to go to a social media site in the Lion's Den. Bertha says, everyone ain't gonna never be rich. Poverty is everywhere in the world. The Bible says a poor is always with me. And I think that's in response to what Dr. MacGyver would have said, where she said we have to eradicate poverty. And I think that's a tall order, right? For anybody to come to government and say, we're going to eradicate poverty, you're going to look at really 25 years to be able to do that. It ain't going to happen in 5 years.
What would Dr. MacGyver, if I may.
Okay, if you need to answer that.
What it is interesting because the poor we will always have. However, how we socialize children is important as to how they will grow up and what kind of society. That's why when we're always telling people how to grow up their children is because that child is coming out into society to live among us, and that's why it's important. So beyond the government's program to alleviate poverty, we must socialize them properly. I remember a student, a teacher, a principal saying to me, Ms. McIntosh, a lot of these children don't have a table. And so they don't dare to do their homework. So we have children failing just because they have nowhere to do their homework.
Good point, good point.
However, when it comes to adolescents, the BCP is youth-oriented. One of our mottos is committed to the preservation of the next generation. And that is beyond just the programs. The programs will do, all of society must be stakeholders. Parents must be stakeholders. When we produce those kinds of programs where everybody is stakeholders, when we look at the program, the Urban Renewal Program, we wrote a Hope Center program way back in the day, and that was used as a basis for the urban renewal. But the parents were supposed to be stakeholders, the students, the teachers. But then when you start just putting people in there for the sake of politics, you ruin an effort that can actually help people. And a lot of that has happened. Even now, our deputy leader, Dwayne Eiler, is involved with adolescent health. He goes in the summer, now it's summer, they're working the program, and these children are in trouble because just the simple thing of not having something to eat. She spoke about poverty. Right. That's one of the biggest problems within the society.
You said we shouldn't blame the government. I agree with the person. Poverty, the Bible said poverty will always be with us, but we need to minimize it. Let me tell you what's happening in the Bahamas. Our GDP per capita is around $36,000 or probably $38,000 now. But the minimum wage, most persons are making around $13,000 per year. What we fail to realize is that our misery index in the Bahamas is much higher than the other Caribbean nations, even though our GDP is higher. So what does that tell you? Money is coming into the country, but it's not trickling down to the base, the lower socioeconomic group of people. And so, yes, we have to restructure our system so that that money trickles down, or what I would like to see, I would like to decolonize our economic model, and I would like to see money trickle up. Through the Sovereign Wealth Fund, we give persons money from their natural resources, and the money will go to middle-class persons to open up businesses. They, in turn, would buy products from the oligarchs who have the wholesale companies anyway. So we get richer, and the oligarchs get richer. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Now, that sounds good if you have people who are disenfranchised and have the wisdom to do that. The challenge is people that you find that are in poverty, lack another component, and that is the ability to make strong decisions. Not everyone in poverty is in poverty because they just had was dealt a bad hand. Not everyone.
Okay.
There are a lot of people that are in poverty because they made bad decisions. They were alcoholics, drug addicts, gamblers, people who have made bad decisions that they cannot make good decisions to get themselves out of poverty. I agree there are some people who have been dealt a bad hand, and if you give them an opportunity, they'll change the situation. But the reality is that is not the majority. And so the first thing we have to do, and I think it goes back to what Ali McIntosh says, is there has to be a mindset shift before we can take people out of poverty. If people's minds aren't ready to shift, no matter what you give them, they're going to squander it. They're going to lose it, and you will have
not a job. But not a job.
Jobs. Listen to me. Jobs, they don't even go to work.
Now, Clint,
we have the issue right now. Think about it.
Let me talk.
We have the issue right now in the public service.
I disagree with you.
In the public service right now, where you give people jobs, but they can't keep them. Why? They don't come to work. Bad work ethics. Lack of respect. They don't have basic skills that you expect that they should have. They didn't have it at home. So you have to retool them. Go ahead.
Listen, let me say this.
Don't get frustrated. It's my show.
I totally disagree with you. You are saying you're not giving power to your people. You are not empowering them and helping them up.
No, I didn't say that.
We have to teach, hold on. We have to teach our people financial literacy.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Right. And so it has to start from primary school, and it has to be age related. So let's say a 5-year-old, you may teach them how to save money in a piggy bank, or if you take the trash out at 8, you might make $1 in your home. We have to start teaching our people. We have not been teaching them. And let's get back to the educational system. We teach them King Henry VIII. We don't even need to be learning those things. So what I'm saying is we need a whole educational system restructure, and in that will be financial literacy.
So that ain't gonna happen overnight. That's a work in progress, and every administration from Pinlin till now, every administration has been busy trying to reform education. So I give them all credit for it. But it does not happen overnight. What has to happen is it has to be systemic and has to be continuity in it. Now, it's difficult to have continuity when every 5 years you change your administrations and the plan changes, right?
So you have to take the politics out of the
I agree. I think all have done something right. All have contributed to our success as a nation. All have.
What I want to say, Clint, though, is I have to disagree on the point. I do understand that there are some people that made some decisions, but to me, I think that's on the minority end. Me personally, I feel that what we consider good or great achievements by governments is lackluster in my view. I think everything to me rises and falls on leadership. I don't think majority of this country is in poverty because they want to be in poverty. You have politicians in place where they go and they're fatten up themselves and they walk out and don't worry about the small man. And so at the end of the day, that's a fact.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, it's not cliche, Clint, when you're saying that majority of the country makes bad decisions, or majority of the country is in poverty. I don't think they're in poverty.
I think we'll all agree here. I think we'll all agree around this table that our country is a country where we have freedom in choice, right? We're not living in a communist nation where you don't have access. We're not living in a country where you cannot do for yourself and be able to live a decent life. We're not living in that country. We're living in a country where you have opportunity and you have access. Now, whether we believe there should be more or whether we believe it should be in a different area, that's debatable. But we have access. The problem here isn't that we don't have opportunity. The problem here is for too long in our country, we put our problems and our blames on somebody else rather than taking responsibility for the choices that we've made. And we like to say when things are bad, it's the government, it's the church. But when things go well, oh, you see what I did? I'm looking good. We are not taking responsibility for our actions. Nowhere. If you look around the world. Hold on.
I disagree that's
countries around the world have governments in place. But in America, while they may argue about about what they have access to and what the government's policy is. They don't depend on a government to take them out of poverty. They don't. They have systems, like we talked about, in place to assist those who are poor. But at the end of the day, you're not supposed to be in that assistance all your life. At some point, that assistance is to help you get back on your feet, and then guess what? You are responsible for you and your family and making the headway.
Agreed.
Now, I agree
Yes,
there
agreed.
can be more opportunities.
Yes. Agreed.
And we keep putting it back and saying we are here because of you.
But it is the work of the government. It is the work of the government to create the atmosphere and opportunity.
And you don't, let me ask
that's
you.
why we need vision. That's why
you don't think over the last 52 years there have been atmospheres of opportunity for our people?
Not
how did we all get here? How did I get behind this chair? How did you become a doctor? How did you become somebody who can lead a political party as a woman? How did you become a vice chairman of a political party? Because we
opportunity.
We live in a country for opportunity.
Okay, but hold on. Let me say this.
But again, Clint, what I disagree with is, right? When you say that Bahamians at large, I feel like you say we are not responsible and basically,
I'm not saying that.
Basically, that we lack. That's what I say. Right? That's how I feel.
Let me clarify what I'm saying.
I think you say we lack the
responsibility. And let me clarify this before you move on. We bear the responsibility as Bahamians. I want to make sure my words are clear. I'm not saying that we aren't, or that we shouldn't be responsible as Bahamians. I'm saying that we have to take ownership.
Correct.
Of our own opportunity and our own ability to do some things. And I'll just sit back and say, if you don't do for me, I ain't gonna have it.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. But let me just make a point. Let me just make a point, right? When you have, and I want to talk directly to leadership that's in place right now. When you have the Prime Minister, that from he took office, every year his travel budget has increased. Right? And we have a healthcare crisis. We have social services, the same assistance that you see being cut.
Hold on.
And the list goes on.
Clint.
You can't, you as a right-thinking individual, you can't tell me that because I ain't choosing right, that only you could live, because when I watch the decisions you make off my back,
you jump in.
Off my back,
when you look at our educational system, right, our infrastructure is not up to par. We live in the digital age. All of our children should have digital stuff inside their school. We don't have any of that. Our children are leaving school. They cannot even fill out an application. I blame the system. The system is at fault. It's not the children. We are bringing them out of school, and some of them can't even read and write. That is not right. So COI, we have a completely new system that we're going to put in place where everybody, they will be tiered. So nobody will leave school feeling inadequate or can't do it.
Okay, what has to happen is I believe that the playing field has to be level. It's not level, even in education. Some people, and think about these are smaller things. If we take care of the little things, the big things will take care of themselves. When we have a teacher saying to a child, you don't have on a brown shoes, so you can't come in my class. You don't have socks, so you can't come in my class. Sometimes I'm glad that we have breakfast now, because some children come to school hungry, and they need to eat to learn. However, the opportunity across the board has not been for all Bahamians. It has been for a lot of political cronies on both sides, so successive governments and administrations has to take responsibility why many people, both educated and uneducated, leave the country because they feel they don't have opportunity. We have to produce a country where opportunity is across the board.
No, I agree
so
with
whether you have 7 BJCs or 2 degrees, you can get an education and you're going to be rewarded for it.
I totally agree with you. And I believe that there are Bahamians who can contribute to our country who have left because I can't even get a decent job to practice what I've studied. And there are people who are not qualified get the jobs. I agree with you in that regard. But as we go to commercial break, I also want you to consider the fact that when I talk about opportunities, we have to, as Bahamians, take full advantage, right? We always talk about it in the public schools, right? You hear the names who are on the honor roll. Their names are of Haitian parentage, the last names, but they are the A students.
4.0.
Why are they taking full advantage, but your good Johnny and your good Sue struggling to get an F? You see? But they got the latest clothes, the latest outfits. They go to all the parties on the weekend. You in McDonald's drive-thru, you in Wendy's drive-thru, you in KFC drive-thru. But these kids who are getting the A's in school are the ones living in the shanty town who may have the Haitian last name, but they're taking full advantage. So when they graduate, or they become the head boy and the head girl, or they come top of the school, and they have the opportunity, and yours could barely get a 2.0. Who do you blame for that? Government? Do you blame the system? Or do you blame the fact that mommy never sat down with a child and say, listen, this is your ticket out of where we are at right now? Your education.
Until the government is able to produce to me those same failures that you speak of Bahamian parents, I would not yield to the fact that leadership is about empowerment, and leadership has a task to do to ensure that the citizenry live as comfortable as possible inside this country. So I will not yield to
I get to the break. I can school you all on the break. I can school you all on the break.
Until you show me the data.
This might show me the break. Come back, I can school them on the commercial break. Back after that. Stay close. Let me say something. It's the truth, though. No, listen.
After 30 years of banking, I've decided to take a leap of faith. I moved from banking into an untapped industry, which is manufacturing in the Bahamas. And now we are standing on 3 acres of land on which we're going to be putting the Bahamas' first end-to-end plastic recycling company, Eden Recycling and Manufacturing Company Limited. Eden has 2 arms, recycling and manufacturing.
This is groundbreaking for us. It's never been done before. It really makes a difference, not only in the Bahamas, but even around the world. This is not just a project that we're doing so that we can make a couple of dollars. We want to make sure that it benefits those who come after us. In future generations, we hope that this is a small vision, that they will take it and they'll expand on it. We can have the formula for what it means to do end-to-end recycling in the Bahamas, in the region, and even if we have to export these ideas and thoughts and concepts even into the U.S.
Is the Little Caesars Stuffed Crust Pizza. Get more pizza for less money. Only $12. It's a whole new level of pizza with cheese stuffed crust so spectacular that there's nothing left.
Pizza.
A delicious pepperoni pizza with the crust stuffed with lots of cheese and brushed with butter and garlic flavor and sprinkled with Parmesan cheese. Hot and ready Thursday to Saturday between 4 and 8 for only $12. Simply irresistible. And only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
Nassau is the capital, Bahamas. Bimini is the gateway, Bahamas. 1492, Columbus landed. 1973, we were free. From Nassau to Inawa, Bahamas. From Freeport to Niguana, Bahamas. Tourists love our country, Bahamas. 700 islands, Bahamas. Happy independence, Bahamas.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting TingsyBahamas.com.
Got termites and need to get rid of them fast? Trust Rentokil Initial. With over 60 years experience in the Bahamas, the global brand, training, and expertise can't be beat. Only Rentokil Initial gives you a 3-year warranty and payment plan options on termite fumigation. No one can match the range of treatments we offer, such as fumigation, pre-construction treatments, termite monitoring, and more. No matter where you are in the Bahamas, we will come to you. When it comes to complete termite eradication, there's only one name, Rentokil Initial.
Back to the rundown. I'm going to get some more comments. So Leslie Gibson, who's in the line, says, Mr. Watson, Mr. Watson, please allow your guests to talk. You are doing all the talking. I wouldn't blame anyone else for not coming on your show because they, as guests, cannot voice their opinions. Okay, so I'm going to take Leslie's advice and allow my guests to talk. Since Leslie done my talking too much on the rundown with Clint Watson, I'm talking too much, so I'm going to allow my guests to talk. Okay. Leslie, I hear you. Okay, so I'll pull back and let them talk. All right.
Before we went to the break, Clint, you were talking about the Haitian parent, and she's instilling in her child. I do believe that parenting is a very important part of raising children. I do believe that. That's very important. But you know, when you look at it another way, some of the Haitian women, they come over here, they have children or many children, and they want the opportunity. But keep in mind, the Bahamian mothers, some of them have to work 2 jobs to make ends meet because the cost of living is so high and everything, and they're living in poverty, and so they're not even home to be with their children when they arrive home. Yes. I know for a fact that a lot of Haitian mothers are home and their children come home. Right. And you know why? Our mothers are doing 2 jobs because they have to pay taxes. It is my understanding that a lot of the Haitian community is not even paying the taxes that the Bahamians are paying.
They aren't.
And yet we are the ones who are taking care of all the institutions like the hospital and everything. We're taking the burden. You know who's carrying the burden? The middle class people are carrying the burden. They're so stressed out sometimes. I'm not giving that as a justification or an excuse, but I'm saying we have to make things better.
That's a good point.
For the Bahamian women. Those Haitian women are home, and they're there to greet their children when they come home.
Yes. They're there to spend time with them.
Yes.
And make sure they do the homework because they're actually there.
And they don't pay taxes.
We're struggling so much.
They don't pay taxes, they live in for free.
Exactly.
And again, the things that Bahamian mothers have to do and Bahamian fathers have to do, you would find especially the illegals, they don't have to do none of these things, but they live in free, they making our money, they setting up on our land, they squatting, and we actually being told that that's their land. If I go and try squat right now, I feel like the government will try to move me fast and they go after illegal immigrant. And as you can see now, we have illegal immigration crisis in this country. And so, to me, again, until we go on facts and data, so until we are able to produce the statistics that to show me that Bahamians are just that irresponsible, that some of the decisions we make are how we are. I never subscribe to that belief because to me, true, genuine leadership is about empowerment. You are in a position to make the lives of the Bahamian people better, do just that. That's what we put you there.
While they are right with that point, I will credit this to Simeon Hall, and he says that, you know, some children just carelessly conceived, and so that's how the parents bring them up. Mm-hmm. But we must look at our children as investments. Right. They have come here. We will only have one chance to bring them up, to socialize them, to put them out on that world. So if you're careless with your children, you figure, oh, I'll get to that later. While they are growing from 12 to 13 to 14, we must look at our children as the investment that they are. And I talk about Bahamian parents, and begin to say, how do I bring up this child? How do I invest in this child? Because what I'm investing in him is, or her, is for the country, not just my home. I'm going to put them out on that world as a man, as a woman, and what kind of relationship are they going to have out there? I am looking, and the BCP is looking beyond just the programs. Sometimes we are majoring on the minors. Mm-hmm. If we look on the greater concept of using core values to reconstruct the nation, both leadership and the people, because the people can't go any further than their leaders, and their leaders can't go any further than their people. They can't lead them any further.
And I'd like to go back on that point I made earlier. Mm-hmm. When you consider that Bahamian women have to sometimes do 2 jobs because they have to make ends meet, that's why we need to empower our Bahamian people, because they have mortgages to pay, real property tax and everything. When we give them the 1 acre of land that we promised, COI promised to give them 1 acre of land, I remember you were saying that it was bribery. And you know what came to my mind? Let me say this. The land belonged to the people. You can't bribe somebody if they already own it.
Right.
So I just wanted to make that point. Just make that clear.
Good comeback.
Yes.
I will say, like I said last time, it's more than just the things that we give them. It is what we are producing in them. They must become the people of the Bahamas. Must become, they must have a new mindset. Because in the United States, people think about their country. We must become patriotic about our nation. People are running out of the country because they want a better opportunity to look at a nation where they can walk. Now, nobody wants to get up every morning and hear someone's been shot, or 2 or 3 people. We don't want to hear that. I'm glad when I go to Atlanta, I don't hear them kind of stuff on the news. I don't listen to the news. However, unless we come to a point, a reset for the entire population, for leadership and for the people, We are not going to get out of this. We're going to blame the Haitians. We're going to blame this one. I've been going to graduations, and you're right. It isn't just started with this 4.0 for the Creole children. We have to say, I will pick up my child. I will make sure they eat. I will make sure they do their homework. When we decide to do that as Bahamians, and I know a lot of Bahamians are doing it, but more Bahamians must do it. We must
see the result of the Bahamians who are doing it.
Yes.
We see the results in their children.
Pushing their children.
Right. And when we were in Abaco, I remember when we were walking through the shanty towns, they had numbers on some of the homes, and some of the homes they didn't break down. So we were talking with the people, and we were finding out, well, why aren't they